The galaxy was on fire. Nebulae that once glowed peacefully now burned red with explosions. Stars flickered in the distance, their systems turned into battlegrounds. On the edge of a shattered world, an alien scout ship drifted silently, hiding. Behind broken asteroids, its pilot, a young Dreshy named Volix, breathed heavily. His 4 hands trembled on the controls. His ship's hull was scorched. Warning lights blinked across the screen. He had just escaped a massive space battle. The Zarn Dominion and the Rethar Hive were tearing each other apart. Dozens of fleets had collided near the Cora Rift. Entire planets were lost in hours. Volix had barely made it out alive. He turned his scanners toward the battlefield one last time. Floating wreckage filled the dark. Thousands of broken ships. Bodies. Silence. But then something strange appeared on his sensor grid. A third signal. It's very faint. Very cold. Not Zarn. Not Rethari. He zoomed in. A black object. Long and silent. No lights. No energy signature. It was far beyond the battlefield. Hiding in the void. But it was moving. Slowly. Like it was watching. Volix blinked. There were no known ships in that direction. No station. No beacons. The scanner couldn't identify it. No language code. No power source. Nothing. Just a slow, steady presence, like a ghost in the dark. He whispered, "Who are you?" Before he could lock on, the unknown object vanished. One blinkened. It was gone, no trace, no energy trail. Volix backed away, nervous. Psst, that wasn't right. No ship could vanish like that. He didn't know it yet, but what he saw was human, far away from the war-torn systems. Hidden beyond the galactic rim, a massive dark ship floated silently above a cold, dead planet. It had no lights. No ID. It didn't need them. Its hull was black as space itself, built to vanish into the void. The words TSS Vindicator were barely visible along the side. Inside, Commander Alara Dane stood on the main deck of the Terran ship. Her face was calm. Her eyes were sharp. Her crew worked quietly, watching every signal, every cum burst from across the stars. They had seen it all. The war, the destruction, the rise and fall of alien fleets, and they had never spoken a word.
Another.
Dreshy Scout spotted us, said her second officer, Lieutenant Kale. Should we intercept? No, Ilara said. Let him run. Let them wonder. She walked toward the observation window. Even though the glass was hardened against all radiation and heat, the stars still looked like they could burn right through. She stared into the endless dark. We've watched too long, she whispered. The Terran ship, one of hundreds like it, was part of the silent Armada secret network of hidden Terran warships spread across the galaxy. They had one mission, to observe, never interfere, reveal themselves. Humanity had learned its lesson long ago. Centuries earlier, humans had joined the galactic community, but they were different, fierce, intelligent, and fast learners. Too fast, too strong, too dangerous. The Council of Races saw what humanity could become. After a single war, they made a treaty. Earth would isolate itself. No expansion, no armies, no interference. In return, the galaxy would leave Earth alone. Humanity agreed. Publicly, they vanished. Quiet, silent, gone. But behind the curtain, they built. Underground, in the void. In hidden moons and dead systems, humans prepared. Not for conquest, but for survival. Now, after 300 years, the galaxy had forgotten what Terrans were truly capable of, until now. A soft beep came from the console. Kale walked over. His face darkened. Commander, the Rethari have entered the nth Veltor belt. Elara turned sharply. That's too close. Closer than they've ever come. The Veltor belt was within one jump of Earth's outer border, a system marked red in every Terran database. It was the line that must not be. Cross to any contact with civilian stations? She asked. None, but one of our deep posts just went dark. Ilara stared at the data. A red dot blinked and vanished. That post had only one job listen. If it went silent, something had gone very wrong. "Prepare a message for High Command," she said. "Use echo code." Kale nodded. Go code was only used in one situation, when Earth's security was at risk. At that same moment, deep under the Atlantic Ocean, a fortress long buried under the waves came to life. Walls of steel shook. Lights lit up after centuries of darkness. Humans in black uniforms marched through halls that hadn't seen footsteps in 200 years. In the command chamber of Terra Base Zero, General Mako Reed stared at the incoming signal. He didn't move, didn't speak. He knew what it meant. "There. Getting close," he said. "Too close." His aide, Captain Lin, asked quietly, "Do we wait for confirmation?" "No, the time for waiting is over." He pressed a red button. Far beneath the Martian surface, massive engines roared awake. In orbit around Neptune, a hidden shipyard unlocked ancient clamps. Massive Terran warships, dark, quiet, covered in stealth plates, began to drift forward. Each of these ships was armed with weapons the galaxy had never seen. Not plasma, not lasers, but something else. Something forbidden. Fold space lances, quantum slicers, cavity tears, silent clean. Final, the ships moved without sound, like sharks in black water. Their orders were clear. Watch, but do not strike unless. Earth itself was threatened, and now the threat had arrived. Back aboard the Vindicator, Ilara stood before her crew. Every eye was on her. "The Rethari have crossed the line," she said. "They don't know what they've done." "Done it." She paused. Her voice dropped lower. "We do not seek war. We do not want to fight. But if the enemy comes knocking on Earth's door," she looked at the stars beyond the glass, "then they will learn what it means to awaken a sleeping world." No one spoke. She gave the order. "All ships power up. Cross the galaxy." Hidden Terran vessels began to stir, quiet giants in the dark. One by one, they lit up their engines. Humanity had stayed out of the fight. But now, the fight had come to them, and the galaxy had no idea what was coming next. The stars above the Veltor belt looked calm, quiet, peaceful. But underneath that silence, something had changed. A Rethari warship, massive and cruel, floated in the dark. Its hull was sharp and red. Giant spines lined its back, each one pulsing. With heat, inside the command deck, Commander Rolvik of the Rethari Hive stood over a glowing map. He raised one claw and pointed at a small blinking system. It's just one jump from Earth's protected space. He didn't know it was protected. To him it looked unclaimed. It's empty, forgotten. "There," he said to his bridge crew. "We'll set up a forward outpost. No resistance. Fast and easy." His second-in-command hesitated. "Reports say the system was once Terran protected." Rolvik laughed. "Terrans. Legends, myths. We've never seen one." He waved his claw again. "Humanity vanished centuries ago. They were a threat. We would have seen them in this war." He turned to the window and looked out into space. "Let them come. If they still exist, we'll burn them like the rest." His mistake had just been made. A few hours later, the Rethari fleet jumped into the chosen system. 8 destroyers, 2 carriers, 1 supercruiser. Their plan was simple. Take the asteroid station, strip its resources, and use it to fuel more attacks on the Zarn. They didn't know the station was Terran. They didn't care. They sent a boarding team of insect-like warriors inside. The station's lights were off. Silent. Cold. No signs of life. But then, something strange happened. The station door sealed shut behind them, all of them trapped. The Rethari soldiers roared and slammed on the walls, but the metal didn't move. Then the temperature began to drop. Fast. One by one, they froze instantly, locked in solid ice. Outside, Supercruiser picked up a message from the station. It was only 2 words. Terran territory. Then the entire station exploded without fire, without energy.
Ow.
It just vanished, disassembled at the atomic level. A perfect, silent erasure. The Ruthless flagship spun in panic. Commander Rolvik screamed for answers, but his sensors showed nothing. No ships, no attackers, no warnings, only emptiness. Then one of his officers whispered something no Rethari wanted to hear, sir. Something is. Behind us, Rolvik turned slowly. The main screen showed a dark patch in space, no stars, no light. It was moving, a shape, massive, cold, silent. Rolvik froze, a Terran dreadnought, long, black, and covered in armor that bent light. No signals, no engines. Yet it moved closer like it didn't need permission from physics. It stopped just behind the Rethari. Fleet, no message, no lights. Only one turret moved, a sleek weapon on its spine, glowing blue. Then for the first time, in 300 years, a human voice spoke across an open galactic frequency. It was clear. Calm, female, you were warned. The weapon fired once. No sound. No flash. Just destruction. The Rethar flagship split in two without burning. It just vanished, like it had never existed. Every ship within 1,000 kilometers followed, broken in half, turned inside out, erased. By a weapon beyond alien understanding, only one Rethari scout ship managed to jump away. Inside it, 2 soldiers cried in fear. One recorded the last view they saw, an image of a Terran ship sitting alone in the dark, silent and unmoving. It didn't chase them. It didn't need to. Back on Earth, deep under the Himalayas, General Mako Reed watched the footage with cold eyes. His command center was quiet. No cheering, no emotion, only silence. Captain Lin stepped forward. The message has been sent. Mako nodded. Send a copy to the Zarn Dominion. In the Galactic Senate? She hesitated. The Senate may respond. He looked her in the eyes. That's the idea. The message was the same one sent centuries ago, broadcast after 300 years of silence. Earth does not seek war. But if war comes to Earth, it will not survive it. Across the galaxy, shockwaves spread. The Zarn Dominion's War Council held an emergency meeting. The Rethari Hive began purging records of their failed attack, and the Galactic Senate normally, slow and divided, froze in panic. Every leader, every general, every diplomat remembered the stories of Earth, of humanity, of the day the Terrans left. Most had believed the stories were exaggerated. Myths. No species could be that dangerous. No race could develop weapons that cut through space. No force could make entire fleets vanish in seconds. But now, they had seen it. It was real, and it was awake. In a hidden sector far from the warfront, aboard the Terran command carrier Eclipse. Admiral Sarah Thorne reviewed the data from the Veltor belt. She wore black armor lined with silver. Her face was calm, her eyes sharp as glass. Kale, her intelligence officer, stood beside her. They've crossed the line, she said softly. Yes, Admiral, Kale replied. And they're about to cross it again. New intel. Rethari survivors have sent out calls for help. The Hive plans to strike harder. Sierra folded her hands. So be it. Kale raised an eyebrow. Do we mobilize the Silent Armada? Sierra turned to the window. 10 Terran warships floated outside. Outside ITH-1, a ghost, black and quiet, hidden by distortion fields. No, she said. Not yet. Kale was surprised. Why not? Sierra smiled. Let them knock again. Let them try harder. She turned back to her console and began typing a new order. Across hidden spaceports and moon bunkers, Terran soldiers began to wake. Units in cryochambers thawed. Drone carriers powered up. Orbital factories that hadn't produced in centuries lit up with blue fire. Earth was waking up. Humanity had stayed silent for a long time, but now the enemy had come too close, and the Terrans had a message for all who dared knock on their door. Asked for war? We stayed out. But you came anyway. You get to see what silence was hiding, and this is only the beginning. In the black void beyond Saturn's rings, the shadows moved. They weren't asteroids. They weren't ships, at least not the kind known to the galaxy. They were too quiet, too perfect. No heat, no energy spikes. just cold, controlled shapes, floating like sleeping giants. Then, one by one, they started to glow. Dim lights came alive under their hulls. Blue pulses ran down their spines. Long silent reactors hummed. Engines older than most civilizations warmed up, and weapons that hadn't seen light in centuries were armed. The Terran silent armada was waking far below. On the surface of Titan, a hidden control bunker rumbled. Dust fell from the ceiling. Doors that hadn't opened in generations slid apart. Inside, rows of black armored Terran engineers and AI command units stood by, waiting for orders. On a central screen, the face of General Mako Reed appeared. "Begin protocol, Shadow Rain," he said. The reply was short, confirmed. "Terran warships activating." One of the techs whispered as she stared at the awakening ships above. "We weren't supposed to need them." A voice beside her answered coldly, "But they came anyway." Across the solar system, more hidden ships came online. Deep in the asteroid belt, buried within false rocks and disguised mining stations, Terran destroyers opened their hatches. Fighter drones launched in silent waves. Shield drones spun up their gravity fields, the galaxy thought. Earth had disarmed. It hadn't. It had only become invisible at each. Terran's ship was a masterpiece of forgotten technology, built not to impress, but to dominate without warning. Their armor bent light. Their weapons didn't fire energy. They twisted space itself. They were ships that shouldn't exist. And yet, there they were. On Earth, in a mountain bunker beneath the Rockies, High Admiral Sarah Thorne stood before the Terran Defense Council. A large map hovered above the central table, showing enemy fleet movements in red. "They're probing again," she said. "Smaller fleets, Rethari scouts, Zarn listening ships. It's testing our border." No one spoke. "They're looking for weakness." She continued, "They think we're bluffing. They believe our weapons are limited, that we only struck once, that it was luck." She looked around the room. "They're wrong." She pointed to a new sector on the map, a red circle blinking near Earth's ancient off-world colony ruins. "Send 3 Shadow-class frigates and 1 Spectre cruiser. No warnings, no comes. Erase the scouts." Someone on the council finally spoke. "Is it time for open war?" "No," Sarah said. "Not yet. We show them what happens when you knock on the door." On the edge of known space, the Terran cruiser Spectre's Edge arrived at the target zone. It made no noise, no beacon. It's just darkness and silence. Inside, Commander Juno Voss sat in the command chair. He didn't smile, he didn't speak. He simply raised one hand. The Terran ship moved, fast, no build-up. Just instant motion. The 3 Rethari scout vessels didn't even know they were being hunted. One moment, their screens showed empty space. The next moment, impact. Not fire, not beams. The front halves of 2 ships simply ceased to exist, sliced away by invisible blades of gravity. The third ship tried to flee, spinning in panic, screaming on open channels. Unknown vessel, we surrender. Do not fire." The Terran ship didn't reply. Instead, it opened a pocket in space's sphere of crushing pressure, a fake microsingularity, and dropped the final Rethari ship into it. No sound. No light. Just gone. Back on the Spectre's Edge, Juno Voss finally spoke to his crew. "Send the recording to command," he said. "Let them decide who gets to see it." The footage was sent. It spread like fire. First to the Terran fleet, then to Earth's Black Ops intelligence network, then, carefully, leaked to the Zarn Dominion. Inside a golden war palace orbiting the Zarn homeworld, Grand Strategist Creo watched the recording with narrowed eyes. The Rethari ships didn't even have time to react. No defense, no escape. Just destruction, surgical. And terrifying? These humans. "They are no myth," he said. "We must not provoke them." But not all Zarn agreed. Some generals saw opportunity. If humanity had such power, they wanted it. "Perhaps we can take their technology," one whispered. Creel did not reply. He knew better. You don't steal fire from a sleeping volcano. Not unless you want the mountain to explode back on Earth. Inside Luna Station Prime, Commander Alara Dane reviewed incoming intelligence. She watched the same recording in silence. No emotion, no celebration, just data. We've sent a message. Kale said beside her. Ilara didn't look away from the screen. And yet they keep testing us. Kale nodded. We're not afraid enough yet. Lara stood. Then we show them what the Armada really is. In secret hangars around Pluto's moons, larger ships now came online. These were not small strike cruisers. These were the Leviathans. Each one was over 5 kilometers long. Their hulls had no visible seams. They carried living AI cores bonded with quantum minds. Their weapons could bend time. Their shields could reflect entire suns. They weren't warships. They were warnings. Sleeping monsters built for one reason: to remind the galaxy that Earth may stay silent. But it never forgets. The largest of them, TSS Goliath, emerged from a frozen shell of ice. Hidden in Pluto's deepest crater, its first message echoed through all Terran channels. Goliath active. Orders, back at Central Command. Admiral Thorne sent her reply. Wait. Observe. If they enter Sol System, destroy everything. Outside the system, in deep space. A coalition of alien races watched the Terran activity with fear and confusion. Some believed Earth was bluffing again. Others wanted to run. A few foolish men wanted to strike first. But none of them knew the truth. Humanity hadn't just built ships. They had built silence to a weapon. They had turned time into a shield. They had made death polite, and now the galaxy was finally beginning to understand. The ships that shouldn't exist were real. They were awake, and they were waiting. In the dark of space near the edge of Sol System, the Rithari Second Fleet prepared to enter. They had brought everything this time. No more scouts, no more probes. This was an invasion. Over 60 warships floated in formation: carriers, destroyers, assault frigates, heavy gunships. The command ship was a monster, shaped like a blade and glowing with heat. Its name, the Harvester of Moons. Inside it, Admiral Korzek studied the holographic map of the solar system. His red eyes narrowed as he tapped a claw against Earth's location. Nothing stands between us and their homeworld, he said. Their defense fleet is missing. Their outer stations are dead. Earth is exposed. His second-in-command gave a nervous hiss. We still do not understand how they destroyed our last fleet. Korzek grinned. Then this time, we will leave nothing behind to report it. He raised his claws and shouted, "Begin the jump." The fleet surged forward, entering Sol System space, and that's when everything went wrong. The first ship, Rithari. Destroyer Unit 4 didn't explode, it didn't burn, it just vanished. No trace, no debris, just a sharp drop in energy and then nothing. The second ship twisted mid-jump and slammed into its own carrier. Both were gone in seconds, torn apart by a force no one could see. Panic spread. The Rithari fleet scattered, their tight formation broken. Alarms screamed across the bridge of every ship. Activated all sensors, radar, energy scans. Nothing showed up. No targets, no enemy. Just black, silent space. And then finally a shape appeared. It wasn't one of their own. It was massive. Silent, blacker than the void. A Terran dreadnought. TSS Widow's silence. It didn't open fire immediately. It waited inside the ship. Commander Thorne watched the enemy fleet with calm, cold eyes. She sat still, surrounded by officers who didn't speak unless ordered. "Targeting data?" she asked. "All confirmed," said Tactical Officer Ray. "Weapons locked, no civilian presence. No friendlies in range." Thorne nodded once. "Execute Omega Strike." The Widow's silence didn't fire in the way most ships did. There was no beam, no sound. Instead, the forward deck glowed with faint blue light and then tore a hole in space. Not a wormhole, not a missile. A cut. A perfect, quiet slice in reality, thin. As a blade wide as a city, it swept through the Rithari fleet, and where it passed, ships died. No explosions, no screams, just absence. The Rithari command ship tried to turn. Engines burned. Weapons fired blindly into the dark. But it was too late. Another Terran ship appeared TSS Black Rain and dropped a single payload. A gravity well bomb. The Rethori ships bent inward, crushed in silence. In under 60 seconds, 80% of the Rethori fleet was gone. The rest tried to flee. One of their communication officers begged on every open channel, voice shaking, barely breathing. "This is Rethori Command. We surrender. We surrender. Do not fire. We're leaving the system. I repeat, we are leaving." Transmission ended. Not by Terran weapons, but by order. They had been allowed to live on Earth. In the main war room of Terra, Base Zero, General Mako Reed folded his arms. He had watched the entire thing. So had the Senate. So had the Czarn. "So," he said quietly, "they knocked again." Captain Lenz stood beside him. "This time we answered." Mako didn't smile. He turned to the communications officer. "One message. Galactic Open Band." "Yes, sir. What message?" He looked straight ahead. "Let them all know. We've been patient. That patience is now over." In the Czarn capital, leaders watched the footage with wide eyes. The Harvester of Moons, once called Unstoppable, was now a pile of twisted wreckage drifting near Neptune. The Rethori High Hive received only the death count, 49 confirmed ships. Gone, 11 presumed destroyed. 3 fled in total panic. Their own admiral sat in silence. One finally whispered, "We didn't even see the weapons." Elsewhere in the galaxy, dozens of species tried to understand what they had just witnessed. Some believed the Terrans had created a new energy form. Some believed it was time-based. Some thought it was just rumors again. But those who had fought humans before, as long ago, knew better. They weren't using something new. They were using restraint in a deep space station built by the Valerie race. A captured Terran weapon was being studied. Their top scientists stood around the device. It looked like a small sphere. It's no larger than a hand. But when they tried to power it just to test, activated and melted through 5 floors of reinforced alloy. The entire station was evacuated. One word was added to their records: do not attempt again. On the moon, in Luna Station Prime, Ilara Dane stood alone in a black observation chamber, staring at the blue planet below. The Earth looked peaceful, but above it, in orbit, floated 120 Terran warships, each one cloaked, each one armed, each one waiting. Kale entered the room behind her. "They'll be sending diplomats," he said. Ilara didn't turn. "I know. They'll ask for peace. Too late. They'll offer deals. No deal will bring back the lives they took." He paused. "What are we going to do next?" Ilara finally turned. Her face was calm, but her eyes burned. "We show the galaxy what happens when you push a species that only wanted to be left alone." She walked past him, and we do it without shouting, without speeches, without warning. Kale followed. "So what do we send next?" Ilara whispered. "Just one message. Across the stars, every listening post, embassy, war room, intelligence hub received the signal. It was audio only, just a few words. Earth is not defenseless. Earth is watching. Earth is done waiting." There were no threats, no demands, but those 6 words traveled faster than fear, and now every admiral in the galaxy had one question on their mind. If this is what the Terrans do when they've barely responded, what happens when they actually fight? They were about to find out. The room was cold, silent, heavy with fear, inside a metal chamber deep below the Rethori Hive capital. 2 surviving soldiers from the failed Sol invasion sat chained to the floor. They were broken. Not physically, but something in their minds had cracked. They refused to eat. They barely blinked. A Czarn intelligence officer stepped into the room. His silver armor shimmered. His voice was sharp and slow. "We need answers," he said. "What destroyed your fleet?" One of the Rethori hissed weakly. "Death, but not death." The officer leaned in, explained. The Rethori didn't move. His eyes were wide, staring at nothing. They didn't attack like us. There was no sound, no warning, no anger, just silence, and then we were gone. The second Rithori whispered one word. Terrans. The officer froze. It had been centuries since that word held meaning. You're certain? The Rithori nodded slowly. They smiled. The officer leaned back for the first time in years. He felt fear. On the other side of the galaxy, Grand Strategist Creel of the Zarn Dominion stood at the head of a war council. Dozens of generals and advisors surrounded him. All reports confirm it, Creel said. The Terrans are not extinct. They're weapons. You don't understand them. They erased 80% of the Rithari fleet in 1 minute. Murmurs filled the chamber. Is this retaliation? Can we contain it? Do we negotiate? Creel raised a hand. They warned us 300 years ago. We laughed. We spread across their border. We fought each other near their worlds. And now, they're watching. He tapped a console. A screen showed footage that TSS Widow's Silence firing its weapon, the cut through space. Instant death. This is not war, Creel said. This is something else. On Earth, inside the Terran Strategic Operations Command Deep, beneath the ice of Antarctico, Sarah Thorne met with commanders of the Silent Armada. The room was lit with soft blue light. Round the table sat the leaders of the most powerful force in the galaxy, each of them unknown to the wider universe. We've shown restraint, Sarah said, but it wasn't enough. They think we are testing our strength. Commander Alara Dane, recently returned from Luna Station, spoke next. They think we have limits? That this is all we have? Quiet pause. Then Admiral Thorne gave the next order. Begin Operation Pulse. Far away, on the edge of known space, a strange object began moving. It wasn't a ship. It wasn't alive. It was called Sentinel Savannah Terran Mine Core inside a metal sphere the size of a building. It had been asleep for over a century now. It awoke, and it pulsed. A signal, not a message. A demonstration. Every advanced race across the galaxy, Zarn, Rithori Valeri, since she detected the signal. It entered their ships. Their A's, their satellite arrays, was harmless until it was suddenly. Across more than 700 alien warships near Terran territory, every AI system shut down completely. Not hacked, not fried, just ... still blind. Deaf. Dead. Panic exploded. Admirals screamed. Engines died. Shields collapsed, and then the systems came back with one line on every screen. You are alive because we allow it. On the Zarn capital, riots began. Civilians wanted answers. Soldiers refused orders. Fear spread faster than fire. In the Rithari hive, the High Queen fell silent for the first time in public memory. The hive mind broadcast nothing for hours, and in the Galactic Senate, chaos erupted. Representatives from 50 species shouted across the hall. Who gave them permission to use this technology? Why weren't we warned? Can we stop them? And the answer was silence. One Zarn senator stood slowly. His voice trembled. We are not facing a military power. We are facing something worse. A civilization that doesn't want control, doesn't want land, doesn't want tribute. He looked around. They want peace, but not the weak kind. The kind enforced with silence and shadows. And when that silence is broken, he paused. There is no one left to beg for mercy. Back on Earth, General Mako Reed watched the galactic panic spread across screens. His officers waited for instructions, but he said nothing for several minutes. Finally, he turned to Captain Lin. Any diplomatic contact? None. Any threats? None. He nodded. Then prepare the second wave. Cross Sol System, new Terran ships began to move into position. Leviathans, interceptors, adaptive war drones. Saturn's rings rippled as stealth cruisers uncloaked. From within the ice above Jupiter's red storm, bioships bloomed like flowers of war. On Neptune's dark side, a fleet of cloaked dreadnoughts waited in perfect stillness. All of them pointed. Outward, all of them ready. All of them waiting for one thing, another knock on the door, on the Zarn. Homeworld, A secret meeting took place between the Dominion and the Hive. "We must unite," said strategist Creel, "even if we are enemies, because there is one thing both our people fear more than death." He tapped the screen. "Terror. Not because of what they do," he said, "but because of how they do it. No demands, no warnings. It's just a message." He replayed the last Terran broadcast. "Earth is not defenseless. Earth is watching. Earth is done waiting. We made them wait too long," Creel said. "And now they smile while the galaxy burns. And somewhere out there, floating above Earth's quiet blue skies, a message was waiting, ready to be sent across the stars. Only 2 words. Never again." But whether the galaxy listened, it was no longer Earth's problem. The largest fleet ever assembled by alien hands drifted silently beyond Pluto. 20 races. Over. 4,000 warships, they had united for one reason, to crush Earth. The Zarn Dominion brought its dread spears. Retheri Hive brought storm carriers and bioshredders. Others the Krell, the Valari. The Moultrie swarm added thousands more. They believed numbers were enough. They believed humanity could not stand against the galaxy. They believed wrong. On the bridge of the lead Zarn flagship Crown of Flame Admiral, Creel stared at the blue dot in the distance. "Target, Southri. Human homeworld," his tactical officer said. "No Terran ships in sight." "No response from Earth," another officer added. "No energy fields. No defenses visible." Creel narrowed his eyes. Too easy. A few hours later, the fleet approached Earth orbit, but something was missing. There were no satellites, no defense. Grid, no cities, no lights, no signs of life. The blue planet was gone. They stared. The orbit was empty. Not destroyed. Vanished. "Where's the planet?" shouted the Retheri commander through the comlink. "Where's Earth?" Back aboard the Crown of Flame, sensors spun wildly. No debris, no cloak, no activity, just nothing. Creel's hand trembled. It can't be. And it happened. Without warning. Dozens of Terran warships uncloaked behind the alien fleet. Not in front, not in orbit. Behind them, the entire human fleet had hidden and folded. Space inside invisible pockets. Outside reality. Now they emerged at once. Leviathans. Stealth. Cruisers, bioships, shadow frigates. They didn't attack immediately. They just floated. Then a voice spoke across every frequency. "Not loud, not angry.com. Human, you came to our doorstep. Now we answer." The sky lit up. Terran ships launched a wave of invisible torpedoes, fold space rupture bombs. They didn't explode. With fire, they tore gravity itself, crushing dozens of enemy ships into compressed wreckage. The Valari fleet tried to run. They didn't get far. Terran drones moved faster than light, slipping between moments. They sliced through holes before alarms could sound. The Zarn dread spears fired there. Strongest weapons, Black Star beams, useless. The Terran shield matrix deflected them into the void. 1. Rethera carrier launched an entire wave of biomissiles. The TSS Vindicator responded by opening a localized singularity, swallowing the attack hold, then redirecting it back. The alien fleet broke. Formations shattered. Ships screamed for help. The Terran dreadnoughts advanced slowly. They're firing precision shots. No wasted movement, no cruelty, just calm, exact death. On the surface of Mars, in the hidden Earth command bunker, General Mako Reed stood before the planetary defense grid. "Activate the veil," he said. In orbit, a global-scale cloaking system disengaged, and suddenly, Earth was visible again, floating calmly. In space, unaffected, one protected the entire time. The alien fleet stared in disbelief. The planet had never moved. They had been tricked. "Begin." Phase 2, Mako ordered. From the surface of the moon, ancient rail cannons launched Sunland's beams, pure concentrated solar. Energy refracted from Earth's own star. The beams cut straight through enemy capital ships. Inside the Zarn flagship, Creel could barely speak. This isn't war. This is execution. He turned to his comms officer. Open a channel. All fleets. Retreat. Retreat. But no signal came. A new message had overridden all channels. Human. Cold. Clear. There is no retreat. There is only the price. The TSS Goliath entered the battlefield. 5 kilometers long, its hull shimmered with layered fields. It released Leviathan-class hunter drones machines, half organic, half AI. They tore into enemy engines. They didn't just destroy, they dissected. The Goliath's main cannon charged. It did not fire at the ships. It fired at space. And for one terrifying moment, everything bent. The stars moved. The fleet felt stretched. Weapons melted. Mines cracked. One Krell battleship turned its guns on itself, driven, mad by the pressure of time being bent from the battlefield. Only 6 alien ships escaped, 6 out of 4,000. The rest were vaporized, crushed, erased or worse, pulled into Terran prisons that didn't exist on any map. Back in the heart of Earth's war room, silence reigned. Then Mako Reed spoke. They brought war to Earth, he said. Now they know what Earth brings in return. He looked out the window. The skies were calm again. Captain Lin stepped beside him. Should we follow the survivors? No, Mako said. Let them run. Let them carry the story. Which story? He turned to her. That we didn't even try. That we didn't send everything. That this was mercy. On one of the surviving Zarn escape ships, the broken Admiral Creel sent out a message to every corner of the galaxy. His voice was hoarse, shaking. Do not go near Earth. Do not speak its name. Do not enter Sol. There is nothing there for you, except silence and death. And the galaxy listened. For the first time in history, they listened. The smell of smoke hung thick in the Galactic Senate. Not real smoke, digital smoke. It's caused by overheating holosystems, overused comm channels, and panicked signals from every corner of known space. The War Council chamber was packed. Representatives of hundreds of alien races filled the floating seats, whispering, shouting, demanding explanations. Even old enemies now sat side by side. On the central screen was a replay again. And again of the moment Earth's forces appeared behind the united alien fleet. One moment empty space, the next, then silence, then destruction. Some senators cried. Others stared blankly. Many had lost entire fleets. Admiral, Creel's voice echoed again across the chamber. Do not go near Earth. Do not speak its name. Do not enter Sol. There is nothing there for you except silence and death. Silence followed until one voice broke it. A Rethari senator stood, his body still scarred from the failed invasion. We must respond, he roared. Humanity has insulted us all. They humiliated the galaxy. A few others joined him. Yes. Tricked us. They made us look weak, another voice shouted. We lost brothers. Sisters. Thousands. Then a taller alien stood, his long arms folded, eyes cold. It was Chancellor Sovin of the Valeri Technate. His voice was like metal scraping stone. We attacked them first. That stopped the room. He continued calm and slow. They warned us. Repeatedly. For centuries they asked for peace, silence, and to be left alone. He pointed at the image of Earth rotating gently on the main screen. They stayed quiet, came to their doorstep. We knocked, then we tried to kick it in. One interrupted. Now we've seen what's behind the door. And I say this clearly, if we strike again, we won't be humiliated. He looked around. We'll be erased. The room fell quiet again, for the first time. They truly understood. Earth hadn't unleashed its full strength. It hadn't sent everything. It had responded with less than 5% of its fleet. The Terrans weren't defending, they were demonstrating. Back on Earth. Deep beneath Antarctica. Inside the Terran Defense Council chamber. Admiral Sarah Thorne sat across from the top leaders of the Silent Armada. Screens showed intercepted alien transmissions from all over the galaxy. Panic, confusion, some still calling for war, but most terrified. Kale, her intelligence director, read the report aloud. Multiple enemy alliances have collapsed. The Rithari hive has gone silent. Zarn fleets have retreated past their own borders. Half the galaxy is now reinforcing defenses against us while we haven't even moved. He looked up. They're frozen. Cyrus spoke softly. Good. Fear is the strongest shield. Lardane leaned forward. They want revenge. They just don't know how to get it, Cyril replied. They won't. She tapped a panel. A map of the galaxy appeared. Terran-controlled zones glowed faintly blue. But something new had been added. A line, circular, expanding, around Sol System, a Terran. Exclusion zone, across thousands of light years. Any ship that entered that space would be considered hostile and destroyed without warning. The galaxy hadn't voted for it. But Earth didn't need votes, they enforced it already. Hundreds of Terran stealth satellites orbited the exclusion line. Mines, pulse nets, sensor ghosts, gravity mines, and the message was simple. Don't come closer, Kale whispered. They'll test it. Syrah didn't look up at them. She activated a separate feed, a quiet signal. Dozens of small alien scout vessels from different races had drifted too close in recent hours. Each one disappeared within seconds. Some were folded out of time, some were cut in half. One ship. Drone returned, but the pilot's mind had been surgically wiped. Not dead, just empty. No memory, no anger, just silence. It was worse than death. Meanwhile, inside the capital of the Sinshin swarm, scientists examined a fragment of a Terran. Fold-bomb. It pulsed with impossible math. It did not burn. It did not decay. They tried to scan it. Their scanners melted. They tried to isolate it. It passed through walls. They tried to destroy it. Their entire research base vanished without a trace. The Swarm Queen issued one command. All Terran technology is now forbidden. Touch nothing. Do not provoke. Back in the Galactic Senate, debates slowed. Now, only one question echoed through every chamber. Why didn't the humans finish us? They had the chance. Thousands of ships. The entire galaxy cornered, but they stopped. Why? Inside Terra Base Zero. Sarah Thorne answered that question herself. They don't understand us, she said. They see power and assume we want to rule. They see silence and assume weakness. Kale nodded. So why didn't we finish them? Sarah looked out the window, toward the quiet blue earth below, because that's not who we are. She stood slowly. But if they come again? Eyes narrowed. We'll show them what mercy looks like when it's gone. The message spread across space. Earth was not interested in war. Earth would not invade. But Earth would never forgive another mistake. And in every corner of the galaxy, empires and warlords, senators and kings, generals and tyrants all paused. No. More knocking. No more testing. Because now, they feared something more than death. They feared humans. A storm drifted over the Atlantic Ocean. Quiet, peaceful, normal, but up in orbit. Just beyond the veil of Earth's defense grid, 12 cloaked Terran dreadnoughts hovered motionless and watching. They weren't hunting. They were waiting, deep. Below, in the ancient Terran command vault beneath Antarctica, Admiral Sarah Thorne stood before a table made of old alloy and dark glass. Around her, the Terran Defense Council sat in silence. For the first time in centuries, Earth had the galaxy's full attention. Kale of Intelligence read from the latest update. The Galactic Senate has issued a ceasefire, a public apology, and a vote officially recognizing Terran space as sacred and untouchable. Someone in the room scoffed. Another said, they think words fix this. Ilara Dane, commander of the Silent Armada, stepped forward. They don't care about peace. They care about fear. That apology, it's not respect. It's survival. Sierra didn't respond. She was watching something else, something no one else could see. On the screen in front of her, footage from the Zarn capital, secret meetings, emergency evacuations, warships being quietly dismantled. And then, the broadcast began. Every ship in the galaxy received the signal. No encryption, no threats. Just a message.human.com. Clear. A woman's voice. Staring. Confident. Unforgiving. You entered our space. You knocked on our door. We answered. This is your last warning. There will not be another. No screaming, no shouting, just truth across the galaxy. Leaders leaned back from their screens. Rethery hive masters turned off all forward deployments. Valeri. Technocrats shut down their war. Foundries.Sinchin swarm queens ordered their fleets to retreat from all Terran-adjacent systems. And the Zarn. They erased every trace of the Soul campaign from their archives, as if it never happened. Because fear had a new name now. Terrans, on the edges of the Orion Arm. Aboard the TSS Widow's Silence, Commander Thorne and her crew watched dozens of alien fleets moving away. Kale's voice came through. Comes. They're pulling back faster than expected. Some systems are being completely abandoned. Thorne stared at the stars through the front panel. So they finally believe us. Kale said nothing because belief wasn't the right word. They didn't believe Earth was powerful. They knew it, and worse, they had no idea how powerful. No one did. The Terrans had only shown fragments. Back at Earth, inside Terrabase Zero. Sierra reviewed the classified reports. The galaxy didn't know about the Ghost Array, an orbital defense system that could bend space in real time. They didn't know about Project Dusfira, protocol that could collapse stars. They didn't know about the Echo. Fleet vessels that no longer existed in the physical world but could strike from between. Dimensions.Earth had stayed hidden for a reason, because the alternative was this galactic panic, fear, silence. But Sierra knew it couldn't last. One day, someone would test them again. Maybe not the Zarn, maybe not the Theri, but someone. It was in their nature, so she had to make sure the galaxy remembered permanently. That's when the next order was given. Initiate the choice protocol. The comms officer hesitated. You're sure? Sierra nodded. They need to see who we really are, not monsters, not tyrants, just done waiting. On over 1,400 diplomatic channels, every major empire received the same direct message. Asterisk, asterisk, you have two choices. Respect our silence. Never enter our space again. Come back. Try again. See what happens. Asterisk, asterisk attached were 12 recordings. Each showed a different piece of Terran power. A. Moon torn and half cleanly. A star compressed into a box the size of a house. A ship erased from reality by a soundless pulse. An enemy army frozen mid-movement, trapped in folded time. No bluff. No fake. All real. The message was simple. You choose, and the galaxy responded. By doing nothing, total silence. No fleets moved. No scouts entered. Terran space. No ambassador sent a reply. Just quiet. The kind of quiet that follows after something truly terrifying. One by one, empires rewrote their navigation charts. Sol system was labeled forbidden. Travel there became a death sentence. Children across the galaxy grew up hearing bedtime stories. Be kind. Be careful. Never go near Earth. The Terrans didn't ask for respect. They earned it inside the Terran command. Senator Kale stood beside Sierra. So, that's it? They've backed off? For now. If they come again, she looked him straight in the eye. Then we stop holding back. There was no celebration. No fireworks. Just preparation. Because Earth knew peace never lasted. But this time, if war ever came again, wouldn't be just about defense. They would strike first, strike harder, strike once, and end it forever. But for now, Earth was silent. powerful watching. The stars looked calm again, but they weren't. They were afraid, because the galaxy had made its choice, and it chose silence.